love that trailer so much.
That was good.
Ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting installment of the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. This is your boy, the French Spirit, Double B Bad Blood, joined once again, oh my God, by the HMIC, Mr. Chemical Julian, that dude who ran away from me this weekend, Shane Husky, and the
I ran away.
True co-host, Big Money Drew. Welcome to Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. It's going to be a Monday Night Mayhem. And before we get into anything else, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk about Raw.
The drama.
Hold on. Let
The school.
T. People getting hit with chairs. People getting upset. Dogs barking. CM Punk cussing people out on a media scrum. The beating CM Punk up. Drew, as a Fightful.com member, what did Sean Ross Sapp report about
BDS?
Because there's been a lot of drama on Twitter today. I mean, Twitter melted down about who was telling the truth. And we always know that Sean Ross Sapp, one of the men in this industry that gets their shit correct, had this to say.
All right, so I'm going to go back to the report that was put out earlier this afternoon around 6:40 p.m. We're going to start there because that pretty much has the beginnings of everything that happened. There were like 4 or 5 emails that went out about this today. So, so this is where I'm going to go. After CM Punk's AEW scrum, where he buried Colt Cabana, Young Bucks, Hangman Page, and others, he returned backstage where we're told an altercation occurred. The EVPs, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks were still in the building and were told there were numerous people that had to intervene. Punk's trainer Ace Steel was said to have been involved from most everyone we spoke with. Others noted that Nick Jackson ended up getting rocked or knocked out. That ended up happening as a result of Ace Steel apparently throwing a chair, according to numerous sources. Kenny Omega and Ace Steel were also said to have tussled, with Steel allegedly biting Omega and grabbing him by the hair. A lot of cursing, a lot of mayhem, and a lot of people not being willing to hash it out, said one person familiar with the situation. So, about an hour ago, the newest update that came up clarifies some things and adds some additional information. So, we've learned more about the AEW brawl after All Out. PW Insider has reported that after the scrum, Punk returned to his locker room where the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega confronted him. So we learned they ended up going into his locker room to confront him about the comments made at the scrum. We can confirm Punk and the Young Bucks had a physical altercation, but Omega and Ace Steel had a separate altercation. So it was Punk and the Bucks altercation, Ace Steel and Kenny Omega altercation.
How many super kicks were thrown?
Unconfirmed reports, unfortunately.
So realistically, let's not broke off from the scrum, and like these are all corroborated. This is all a proven fact, right?
Right. So here's where it gets juicy.
Okay.
We are told at Fightful.com, we're told Ace Steel cracked Nick Jackson with a chair.
Oh my God.
Not a gimmick chair, a shooting chair.
A shoot chair.
Yeah. Wait, chairs are
chairs are a gimmick, apparently.
Not a gimmick chair, not a working chair.
Right.
Was it a
Ace Steel cracked. So I'm going to repeat again. Ace Steel cracked Nick Jackson with a chair. With another person saying they think he's lucky to not be in jail right now.
That's an assault.
Jesus
Several
Christ.
sources. It gets better.
That's just some World Star hip hop shit right there.
Several sources in AEW that we spoke with said that they believe Ace Steel will not be back in the company after this incident.
Wow.
Hey, so that's real funny because Ace Steel is going to go for a job interview. They're going to be like, so why'd you lose your last job? I hit somebody with a chair. What do you do? I'm a professional wrestler.
But this wasn't in the ring. This was a shoot fight in the back.
This was a shoot fight.
So, keeps getting juicier. So the Ace Steel, we believe from those sources, will not be back in the company after this incident. PW Insider noted Steele's wife was said to have been around caring for Punk's dog Larry. The story of Nick Jackson having a black eye came from Steele throwing a chair at him. Believed that Steele was upset that Punk was confronted in his locker room by the Young Bucks and Omega while his wife was caring for his dog Larry in the locker room. Security was called, and there were many people trying to break everything up. One person outright said it was a situation of them trying to save lives. There is an incredible amount of heat. Okay.
Was this seriously like that bad? Was it seriously like that? This is seriously like that bad. This was over comments made at the scrum? Because I watched the scrum and the scrum was pretty heated.
Well, if we remember, I don't have the exact quotes of what Punk said in the scrum, but Hangman Adam Page was called a empty-headed dumb fuck. I remember that. The stuff about Scott Colton, aka Colt Cabana, was wild to say the least.
Oh, yeah, I saw that part.
And while a lot of people have been spreading the word on Twitter, social media, Reddit, everyone
out of context,
CM Punk was not asked about Colt Cabana. That was unprovoked.
At all.
He addressed a reporter who had been friends with Colt Cabana in the past.
Yep.
Asking about some improv stuff that they
improv
had done
acting.
previously.
He did improv acting with
and then Punk proceeded to go in on Colt Cabana. There was no questions about Colt Cabana. Nothing from the media bringing Colt Cabana up whatsoever. That was all from Punk. And then, of course, he went into the EVPs who were spreading rumors on about their, I forgot the exact wording, were spreading rumors about what was going on and him having to state this in that moment, which it didn't feel like he really necessarily needed to. Because he was none of the stuff was brought up by the media. This was all brought up by Punk himself.
Yep, I saw the whole thing on him.
So, moving on from that, continuing with the story, because it gets better. So security were called. There were many people trying to break everything up. One person outright said it was about them trying to save lives. There was an incredible amount of heat on Ace Steel after the situation, obviously, with one person saying they weren't sure what happened, but that it couldn't have possibly escalated to hitting someone with a chair. So that's where the, not confirmed, but what is most likely the reason why his wife was mentioned is because he may have gotten heated because they went into the locker room where his wife was and started the altercation there. So, oh man. So
look, before we go any further, okay? This is fucking crazy.
It really is crazy.
Here's the thing.
And it gets
here's the thing. This is where it look. This whole thing started over a promo that Hangman Adam Page said a while back, right?
Yeah, that's
how this whole CM Punk thing with him get angry. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to share the promo.
You have it?
That caused all this fucking drama. I'm going to share the promo. Let's play this promo real quick. And once I share the promo,
roll tape.
We'll fucking shit.
This is our point to the Titantron moment.
Point to the Titantron.
Yeah.
And this is what happened last week.
And we'll
Roll
find
the
out
footage.
Yeah.
on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, on the previous episode of.
The
All right,
drama.
here we go.
of
We're
the
gonna play
Elite.
this thing real quick. Yeah, the elite drama. Let's go.
To be a champion after all these years, I don't think you get it. It's not just about what happens in this ring. It's what happens when that red light turns off. What happens when you go back to the curtain, those small, quiet moments when you think no one's watching. That's what makes a champion. You talk a big game about workers' rights, yeah? Well, you've shown the exact opposite since you've gotten here.
Okay.
I
Listen
love
to
this
the words.
place. I care about this place. This is my home. And this Sunday at Double I will not be defending this championship against you. No, for the first time in my life, I will be defending all elite wrestling from you.
What a promo that was.
And people took that.
Okay, so let's just get this out of the way. Literally, let's get this out of the way. Adam Page said what he said. He said what he
And then
said.
fell down the card.
But what was so bad about that?
Yeah.
I mean, basically, he's just saying, "Yo, you talk a big game, but you ain't doing shit." That sounds like a regular run-of-the-mill fucking promo to me.
He cut the same promo on CM Punk that Triple H did and that John Cena did back in WWE.
Yeah.
About Cena being in the business for himself and being almost like a one-man NWO, blah, 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 blah. But, it's funny because, I mean, there was a point where CM Punk really used to ride high on the straight edge punk rock gimmick and DIY and, et cetera, et cetera. And now it seems like he's almost on the opposite side of it. Like now he's the rich guy who has a lot of control. It's almost like he's turned into the Kevin Nashes that he complained about. And now he's being called out for it.
Okay, so real shit. Before I want you to go back and finish reading the email, but before I the media scrum, honestly, let's talk about this for a second. Do you honestly and truly believe that CM Punk is the catalyst for all this drama backstage? I mean, this sounds like some fucking High School Musical type of shit. This sounds like some very unprofessional on all levels. We had this conversation about Thunder Rosa. You know what I'm saying? There was a Thunder Rosa issue. People were saying she's stiff. She's going in business for herself. Quite honestly, man, a lot of wrestlers do it. It's wrestling. You know what I'm saying? It's wrestling. And this drama, this is drama. This is some behind the scenes bullshit drama that really need to be. I agree with Punk. Okay, I'm gonna say this, and I'm probably gonna draw some heat. I don't fucking care. I agree with Punk about not being taken care of. And then it happens. Take care of it in the locker room. Pull the people, and you know me, man. When I ran BCW, I did the same. I pulled everybody together. Like, you got a problem with this person? Let's all talk.
True.
Let's all go in the same room.
I've seen it.
Let's all talk it out. Because if you can't talk it out, don't let that shit get to media. Media is the fucking that will either build a company or destroy a company. And right now, with AEW running a show and WWE running not one but two shows against them, same weekend, they didn't really need to bring like if you want to get eyes on your product, don't cause drama to get eyes on your product.
Dude, I hate to say this, but
Okay.
Because of the way wrestling fans behave, this is our world star hip hop that Tony Khan knows that wrestling fans are just going to eat up because it gives people something to chew on and talk about on Monday, leading into Wednesday, leading into Friday, continuing on to the next week. And it's chatter, it's news. And as long as people are talking about you, as long as you're trending, as long as there's, reasons for Fightful Select to be trending, there's a reason for Sean Ross Sapp to have a job. I mean, that's what keeps this whole thing going. And it's really about the news that it generates. I mean, do I really think that CM Punk was in his locker room sitting there changing his boots and in walk the Bucks and Kenny Omega, the EVPs of the company, and they go, "Hey, buddy, I heard you were talking shit about us. It's time to get it on."
Fuck
And
no.
here comes Ace Steel with the babyface or the heel running, maybe. With the
Heel running.
somebody with it at your
That's
job.
what I'm saying.
And
Dude,
it
come
sounds
on.
like
You're
a
gonna attack
woman
the
where
people who pay you. What the fuck? Anyway,
Yeah,
it sounds like a
continue
woman where
reading. Continue reading,
And
Drew.
Tony
Drew.
Khan is just sitting there at the table like, yes, maybe I should tend to this.
I'm gonna
Continue
when
reading,
I
Drew,
finish
'cause-
reading. Yeah, let me finish reading, and then I'll address what I think the real issue is here. All right, where was I? The argument continued with a lot of cursing. Okay, yeah, that's where I am. All right, so Credible and Heath and they still have the situation. One person said they weren't sure what happened. It could have possibly escalated. It couldn't have possibly escalated to hitting someone with a chair based off of what the initial comments were when Punk walked into his locker room. The argument continued with a lot of cursing and shouting until the elite left the area. We've heard from people who are siding with both, saying Punk's comments prompted the situation. Others saying the elite shouldn't have approached Punk when he was clearly pissed off. However, the large majority seem to think that Punk should have expected to have been approached by it, which I agree with. PW Insider noted FDR had left the building by then. They posted on Twitter that they were bonding with others in their locker room over a bottle of Woodford Reserve gifted by a friend of Fightful, Share Delaware. It would seem like they, as well as many others in the locker room who had long left, would have likely not been in any condition to have a gang wars situation unfold. So I'm imagining if they were there, probably this would have escalated to an even higher point that maybe nobody could have come back from, judging from what's going on with them. Not that I'm not saying anything negative about them. I'm just saying they're very much with Punk, and it does feel like Ace Steel was the only person. I'm not reading this from the email. This is just coming from me. It seems like Ace Steel was the only person pro-Punk in that immediate area at that moment, which could have been why he felt, it escalated to the way that it escalated to, with the chair being thrown at somebody, because it could have felt like an ambush to them, which totally is understandable. I've had an ambush myself. It's not fun. You get into things that you will probably end up regret doing just because, you feel backed into a corner by a bunch of people. So, you got the elite. Hangman was not reported to have been involved in this. It was just Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. That's it.
I don't know where people are getting the fact that Hangman was involved in.
So
Okay, so from
if
what
FTR
I'm
was
hearing from you,
there-
Drew.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead, because you're about to say what I was going to say. I already know. I see it coming.
Oh, yeah. If FTR was there, it would have been a 2-3-on-3 situation. It probably would have been a huge melee, and cops probably would have been called. Everything, whole nine.
Shit would have hit the fan.
Yeah. Big time.
So now the ending of the scene.
I mean,
I just one more paragraph and then I'm done. Chris Jericho was credited by several that we spoke to for stepping up even more so in a leadership role over the past couple of weeks. Multiple sources cited his calm demeanor at the scrum in the middle of all the wildness that was going on, and him speaking at the AEW talent meeting that occurred recently. That's the end of the email.
Now, you know what's funny? I was going to mention that earlier. Everyone, including us on this podcast, talk about Chris Jericho should, step back a little bit from the in-ring competition and give the young guys some space. This is a perfect role for Chris Jericho to be in. Step back from the ring, be a locker room leader, and fucking like be a locker room leader and stop this bullshit from happening. Because quite honestly, man, look, This is a fucking just drama. This is drama. This is bullshit. Okay.
Assuming it's true,
Grown ass man.
this is drama.
It's true.
Pure drama.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Even if it's not true, it's still bullshit drama. Like, look, we're gonna watch media scrum. I'm gonna pull the scrum up real quick because, quite honestly, I'm not gonna be one of those people that, oh yeah, you should listen to what this guy said or what this guy said.
Oh yeah.
No. Let's hear from the fucking horse's mouth.
Both sides. I keep saying
That's
it's
how
both sides of the story.
My mom used to always say this: there's your side, there's her side, then there's the truth. Okay, we've seen promo that invoke whole fucking gang warfare, and I joke about gang warfare all the time, guys.
He really did.
I think
Just
it's
like how
funny,
I
but
would
this
be
is
in
not.
every faction.
Like, so this is some serious shit. Like, this is why I didn't want to talk about Raw or SmackDown tonight. I want to get this shit out because this is some fucking bullshit. Here, let's go ahead and let's get this one in. Oh, I got the mute on. Sorry.
You blew my spot. If you're not friends with them, I apologize. But you should probably disclose who you're friends with. I haven't.
Wait, I want to listen to a fucking 5-minute video.
What was that?
Oh, you were going back. Okay.
This is
So
the
like,
world of
it's like, what's
professional
this music
wrestling.
coming from?
And you have journalistic integrity, people who report things mostly that are bullshit, slanderous lies against my. If you are friends, buddy, you blew my spot. If you're not friends with them, I apologize. But you should probably disclose who you're friends with. I haven't had anything to do with Scott Colton almost a decade. That is fucking
I keep trying to
unfortunate that I
figure out
have
where
to
the
speak
question
on this
came from about
on my time, and this is a fucking business.
There wasn't a question.
Why I'm a grown-ass adult man and I decide not to be friends with somebody is nobody else's fucking business. My friends,
Nope.
If I fall backwards, will Sultan felt never would have. My problem was I wanted to bring a guy with me to the top that did not want to see me at the top. Okay? You call it jealousy, you call it envy, whatever the fuck it is. My relationship with Scott Colton ended long before I paid all. I have every receipt. I have every invoice. I have every email. I have the email where he says, and I quote, I agree to go our separate ways. I will get my own lawyer and you do not have to pay anymore. That's an email that I have. The only reason the public did not see is because when I finally had to countersue him through discovery, we discovered he shared a bank account with his mother. That's a fact. And as soon as we discovered that fact and we subpoenaed old Marcia, he sent the email, oh, can we please drop all this? Now, it's 2022.
Right.
I haven't been friends with this guy since at least 2014, late 2013. And the fact that I have to sit up here because we have irresponsible people who call themselves EVPs
Here we go.
and fucking manage, and they spread lies and bullshit and put into a media that I got somebody fired when I have fuck all to do with him. Want nothing to do with him. Do not care where he works, where he doesn't work, where he eats, where he sleeps.
What the fuck does this have to do with anything?
Wait, let me get
No
this
one
SpongeBob
asked
meme.
the question.
Nothing.
No one asked the question about Colt Cabana. Like, I watched this media scrum 3 times. Me and Drew talked about this earlier today. No one fucking asked the question about Colt Cabana.
No one literally asked the question, bruh.
No.
It had to
And the fact that I have to get up to do this in 2022 is fucking embarrassing. And if y'all are at fault, fuck you. If you're not, I apologize. What did I ever do in this world to deserve an empty-headed fucking dumb like Hangman Adam Page to go out on national television and fucking go into business for him? For what?
Okay, so is this now that comment right there, going to business for himself, Was that in reference to the promo that we just watched? Because as a professional wrestler, as someone who's been doing this a long fucking time, when I shoot a
30
promo, when I
years.
go off on someone in a promo, it's not personal. It's to build heat for whatever match I'm in.
Business, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think
So
it was either the promo that we just played, or the promo that he did when Punk wasn't there.
Or Hangman wasn't there.
No, when Punk wasn't there.
Oh,
There was a promo that Hangman did. I went back and watched it, but so much shit has happened since then I don't remember. There was a promo, yeah, that went where I don't remember what was said, but I thought initially that was the promo that Punk was upset about because he wasn't there.
I mean,
which is why he did what he did about calling Hangman out randomly a couple of weeks ago to come and face him again when that wasn't a planned segment on the show to make him look stupid.
so hold on one second. So you're gonna get mad at someone for going into business for themselves, but you're gonna do the same fucking thing?
right. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's called
Pot, meat,
hypocrisy.
Right.
What did I do?
Are you gonna
Dave?
play
What
more
did
of this?
Oh yeah.
So you know what? I'm
Didn't do
trying
a
to figure out
goddamn
here.
thing. What's
What
your name, sir?
CM
Pittsburgh
Punk
Penguins.
appeared
What are you
on the
doing,
Art of
man?
Wrestling with Colt Cabana in what 2014?
It was like
Yeah, they stopped being
2014.
friends after the podcast. Like
It was late
Mhm.
2013. I remember specifically it was, I think, right after Thanksgiving in 2013.
Man, what a way to kick off November.
Yeah. So when you
No
start talking
friend,
about like
no friend
he said
November.
he
No
said he
friend
had worked with him for
November.
10 years. I was like, bro, it hasn't been that long.
Babel is fucked up, and you know it.
Hey, that's
Um,
shit. I'm being honest, man.
Right.
But go ahead, play
What
the
do you
rest
do?
of it, and then we'll talk.
I made it really clear in Forbes, and I just want to make it clear again. Nick
It's
Win-
not his position to make it be fucking clear. There's people who call themselves EVPs that should have fucking known better. This was none of their. I understand sticking up for your fucking friends. Fucking get it. I stuck up for that guy more than anybody. Okay, I paid his bills until I didn't, and it was my decision not to.
Yeah, but I shouldn't have no commented when Nick first said it. It's my fault, and if I hadn't, it's
appreciate
my
that.
fault. It's my
I
fault.
appreciate
I
that,
should have
but
just
I'm-
taken it head
but
on
I'm-
because you never
But
said
I'm trying to
anything.
run a fucking business. And when somebody who hasn't done a damn thing in this business jeopardizes the first $1 million house that the company has ever done from my back and was on national television, and does that, it's a disgrace to this industry. It's a disgrace to this company. Now, we're far beyond apologies,
Oof.
right? I gave him a fucking chance. It
Said
did
that
not
again.
get handled, and you saw what I had to do, which was very regrettable, lowering myself to his fucking level. But that's where we're at right now.
Okay, so what it sounds like to me is, yo, you can't tell me you're fucking sorry now. So I'm gonna go out on national television and I'm gonna shit on you in front of the whole world, and then I'm gonna continue to be mad. That makes no fucking sense.
Okay, let me give you the other part about this. All right. CM Punk is sitting out there essentially with his boss. And he's making his boss look bad. However, he doesn't give a shit because he knows his boss can't afford to fire him.
Yeah.
Because literally his boss will lose money. He will not draw these kind of gates, especially in Chicago, without CM Punk. And of course, the way some fans are, you fired Punk for no reason, and there'll be a split. There'll be some who are like, Punk was an ass. Then others, well, Punk was right. But what happened to professionalism? What happened to professionalism? What happened to the part where you don't go out during media scrum and shit on the people that you just shared the stage with? Whatever happened to that?
Man,
With your
this
boss
is
sitting
fucking
next to you.
ridiculous. I'm telling you. And here's my
Because
problem with
now
Tony
your
Khan.
boss-
I'm gonna say
Because
this right here.
Now your
This is my
boss is going
problem.
to catch heat from your coworkers who
Not
are
even-
like, why didn't you shut him the fuck up?
Well,
Because
see, and
what?
that's my problem with Tony Khan. Tony Khan said it like 2 weeks ago that, it's going to be different. Well, he had that fucking talent meeting. Things are going to be different now. I'm going to be taking more of a leadership role in this.
Nope.
Where the fuck have
No.
you been all this time?
Dude, he's trying to be their friend. He's
Where the
trying to
fuck
be
you
their
been all this
buddy,
time?
one of the guys.
The thing is,
And
Tony
they know
Khan
him.
Make fun of Tony
is
Khan.
too nice.
They ma-
He's too nice. And
They
he's
make fun
afraid
of
to
Tony
say
Khan.
no.
Oh, he's hugging people. He's their best friend. No, you know what? This was my problem with BCW, and this is why I left. I am your boss. I'm not your
Yep.
buddy. I'm not your associate. I'm not your fucking best
Oh.
friend. This is a business. And when things became buddies, associates, best friends, hey, my friend, hey, my buddy, can you put the title on me? Hey, my
Hey,
friend, hey, my
Al.
buddy, I want to be champion for 2 years during the pandemic and I never want a job to anybody. Then you get one person in your ear talking this shit, one person in your ear talking this shit. And I'm like, yo, I'm the boss. I make the fucking decisions, like it or not. I hate being a dick, but Tony Khan, bro, you need some fucking balls, man. Yeah, CM
He-
Punk is the guy. CM Punk is your top guy right now. But you got other top guys in this company too. Start treating your fucking talent like start making this a workplace and not a fucking place to hang out. That's the fucking problem.
I am going to say this. He is letting everyone walk all over him. That's what he's
Oh, yeah.
letting people do of Tony
No,
Khan.
he's
Jay
letting
said it.
everybody go to business for themselves.
Yeah. Jay said it like this. Fight Jay's fight said, LOL, Tony's face on pause. That look right there looks like
Sad.
fuck. I've
That
totally fucked
was
this whole
pretty
thing
much
up.
his face the
I just
entire
wanna give him
press
a hug.
conference.
I totally fucked this whole thing up.
Oh man, but I can't give him a hug
I
because
will
then people will
still
be like,
walk down this.
Because
You have a
you know what?
fucking problem
Oh.
with me. Take it with me.
Go ahead.
here's
Let's
the guy
fucking
who put the
go.
title on, who is just fine. He's being a heel. That could be Tony Khan's explanation. Oh, he's just being a heel.
It's
He's
not
being a heel.
But here's the thing: you can be a heel at the press conference, whatever.
And not shit on other
But-
people.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
the heel
here's my
champion
thing
talked
about being
how he beat everybody's ass.
you're the champ.
How the-
Yeah, you're the champ. You're here shitting on everybody. So when you beat them, who did you fucking beat? Nobody.
correct.
You literally beat nobody because you shit on them the whole fucking time.
and
What's your
that was-
question, Nick?
I wanted to ask about MJF. Before he came out, obviously, in front of you, Punk. Why now? Why is MJF back in the fold? How do you both feel about him being around? How do you feel about the time he spent away? All of that.
Well, if I may, I am the one who asked him to come back because he's a big star in this company,
God,
and this is one of the biggest
brilliant.
events. A year ago,
So
CM debuted here, and I thought it was the fans. And like I said, for the fans, I thought the best thing that we could do as a company was
It's me to work with pricks constantly. That's what it is.
nevertheless.
That was the stupid fucking remark he just made. That was the stupidest fuck because he wants me to work with pricks.
Yep.
Like, dude,
Wait,
If you can't really see it,
Like,
well, I mean, on
seriously.
my end at least, you can't really see it very well. But I remember vividly Tony Khan's face after he makes that remark. He really goes
oh,
like
we're gonna.
he really did not look happy with him saying that. I don't know if it's
No.
the same way for everybody else, but it's kind of like choppy a little bit.
Mhm.
yeah,
So,
it's choppy.
It kind of like
Yeah.
freezes and whatever, so it didn't
Yeah.
catch that moment. But if you go back and watch that moment, when he says that comment, Tony Khan's face looks like, "What the fuck did you just say?" Like
Yeah.
that was like the first time you ever really see a reaction from him.
You know, everyone's at fault. Bucks, Kenny, Punk. Yeah, exactly.
Everyone.
This is probably why Cody was like, "Fuck it, I'm out of here."
Yep.
So let me
Like, I don't blame Cody.
let me go into my little thing about what's going on here with all this.
Go ahead.
So because the video can go on for another like 10 minutes, and then he weaves the EVPs back into it, and there's other things talked about, and
Yeah.
the surgery and whatever. So this is what I think is the problem. The problem is kind of like what Fight Jose Fight just said. I think everyone does play a role in this.
Yep.
Everyone, including Colt Cabana, every single person has a role in what happened in this press conference. Oh, is that an A? I'm sorry, I can't see. I'm blind.
Jace.
It's fight, Jase fight, not Jose.
Yeah,
My
not Jose.
apologies.
Mm.
I always thought that was an O, so I've just been corrected
No,
now
you're
for the first time.
Fight, Jose, fight.
I mean, hey, it would have worked.
It will work.
So here's what I think it is. I'm gonna start with. I'm not gonna mention Colt here really, but I think Tony Khan. You know what? I'm gonna do Tony Khan last. The first person I want to do is Punk. Now, Punk, I think, severely regrets what was said in the scrum, and not because, when he said, "Oh, I have to say this." I don't remember the exact quote, but something to the paraphrasing of like having to say this after all this time, whatever. The problem with Punk is that he held this in for 10 years. He, if you've noticed, he is the only person involved in that whole thing that has never said anything publicly about what happened. He has internalized what happened with Colt Cabana since they ended that Art of War podcast. Like that was the Art of Wrestling, podcast. I don't think they spoke, because he says pretty much he already was in that scrum rant. He says he was pretty much already done with Colt at that point of that podcast. Now, I don't know if that's just him blowing smoke or if that's legitimate. But it seems like very soon after that podcast, that's when the WWE people went to sue them, and then the fallout happened between them.
Correct.
So,
Exactly.
since then, Punk has not publicly addressed this.
No.
I don't think they could, because I believe there was
there was like some sort of legalities.
There was a clause in the lawsuit
Mhm.
about either not discussing it or not making disparaging remarks or not going into mass media with it. And I think that they did that simply because of Colt Cabana having that platform with the Art of Wrestling.
Here's the problem, though.
Here's the thing.
Go ahead, Joe. You go first.
If you're saying he held this in for so long, bro, this ain't the place to vent it.
No, I don't. I agree. Absolutely.
When you run into Colt Cabana backstage and catering, vent that shit then.
Right.
When you see him
I totally
in the
agree.
locker room, talk about it then.
Yeah.
When you guys have a group meeting and Tony Khan goes, "Does anybody have any questions?" Say that shit then. Not when there's a fucking camera in your face and you're taking up airtime. And killing business.
So now the other thing I was going to say about that is where I think was the problem with what he did, obviously, was doing it in that moment, unprovoked. He obviously has been holding this in for a long time. You could tell from that rant.
He just wanted to get it out. Like
now,
a lot of it
here's the other side of it. You want to play devil's advocate. Punk's side has been silent about the Colt Cabana issue. But we know a lot about the Colt Cabana side of this thing. And what I think is the issue, and this is what he did, what he said in this rant on the scrum. He said it without saying it, pretty much, that the EVPs are friends with Colt Cabana. Now, they have been talking to, they've been friends with Dave Meltzer for forever. They have a fucking move called the Meltzer Driver for a reason.
Yep.
And they have always been online people who talk to the media and air out their grievances that way. Punk is not that person. So you put yourself in Punk's shoes for a moment. He was 100% in the wrong to say what he said in that moment, absolutely. However, think you you are a very private person. You do not comment on these things publicly. You don't have friends who comment on these things publicly on your behalf. Now you're working in a company where your former friend worked and his friends work, and they are top people in the company while also talent on TV. You would absolutely have issues with what's going on, but because it's like there's Tony Khan, who's also the friend of everybody. So you've got Tony Khan, who's the friend of everybody, while the EVPs, Kenny and the Bucks, are friends with Colt, and seemingly not friends with Punk, as we can pretty much decipher from what's going on here. So I'm not coming to Punk's defense here because I don't agree with what he did. However, I can see why he did what he did. And that's my point on Punk.
I get what you're saying about that.
Okay, go ahead. You finish.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. No, go ahead, because I'll pick it back off what you're saying.
All right. Yeah. Now, Kenny and the Bucks, this is a really short one because they're obviously, well, I mean, I pretty much already said my piece on them and the other things. Like, they're friends with Colt. They are online people. They are very, their whole BTE thing is callbacks to here and there and being really smart and doing all this stuff. And while it's incredibly entertaining and I love it, I don't watch it all the time, but when I do, I love it. It's funny. I don't understand the Ryan Nemeth stuff. That's really fucking stupid. But the non-Ryan Nemeth stuff on BTE is funny. I like their callbacks to the past. I like the stuff that they do with Brandon Cutler. I like the title stuff. All that stuff is fun. But there's a time and a place for the type of... you have to know who you're working with. Now, they had a friend in Hangman, Adam Page, of course, that I didn't mention. They also are upset with Punk because of what happened with him, clearly. That's a whole different, we could go on for hours about that. But I think they were in the wrong. Like what the Fightful Select report said, I think they were in the wrong for going up to Punk in that moment in the locker room right after the scrum. It was bound to be heated. But because it's what I believe was reported is that, well, I mean, I don't think was that in Sean's report that Punk threw the first punch? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Somebody was saying somewhere that Punk, I don't know if it was Meltzer or PW Insider, I don't remember, was saying that Punk threw the first punch. I don't know if that's the case. I haven't seen Sean confirm that. But in that moment, while Punk was not in that moment in the right for saying what he said in the scrum, Kenny and the Bucks were not in the right to go march directly to his locker room as soon as those comments were made.
No.
It should have been a day to go by. People sleep on it. We come to work the next day, we discuss it. Not in the literal, in that moment thing. Should not have happened there. So they are in the wrong for that.
Should have waited on the next day.
Now, my thing with Tony Khan. This one's a little bit longer. Tony Khan, I have a lot of respect for doing what he's done. I don't know about the football stuff, the soccer stuff, or the football stuff. I've not known of him from that. The name Tony Khan only came into my existence when AEW was created. I never knew the name Tony Khan before then. So, he is, and I believe I discussed this with you a little bit, Bad Blood, earlier. I feel like, or maybe I didn't. I might have discussed it with somebody else. He is the type of person who I can very much relate to, because every scrum that he does, not just this one, but every scrum that he does, every comment that he makes publicly, especially when he does the stuff that a lot of people make fun of him for when he comes out before Dynamite to get the crowd pumped.
And just makes fun of him just for the fun of it.
Or when he bought ROH promo on Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
He gets very overexcitable in the moment. He gets very awkward as well when it comes to certain aspects.
Yes.
Particularly in these types of situations, Tony Khan is not the best at, one, reading a room live, and I'm not talking about at a wrestling show. I'm talking about as in a shoot moment. He is awkward. He is not the best public speaker. We've seen that. Very relatable to me because I am not very. I might seem like I'm very easygoing and I can spew for hours and talk to people, but I'm doing this because I'm sitting in my living room right here looking at a camera and looking at your faces. I could not do this in a public setting. I cannot stand up. I sometimes have to give presentations at my job and I feel my throat starting to close.
Because there's a difference on that.
Because I just...
It's funny you say that because I have the same fear of public speaking.
Right.
My daughter's like, Dad, but you wrestle in front of all these people. And I'm like, it's different. Like, I can't explain like how that's different. But when that music hits, like literally anyone that knows me knows, yo, man, blood will be at the curtain shaking like a fucking leaf. But when that music hit and he goes for that curtain, he's good. When he comes back, he's like, oh shit, it's over.
Yeah.
30 years. Yeah. That's the thing. It's hard to shake and doing like a podcast, looking at my camera in a studio in my house. So yeah, I totally get that.
Right.
I completely understand that.
Tony Khan being a guy who's a statistics guy who sits behind a computer and knows stats. Now he's got not one but two major wrestling companies. The guy is, he was the guy that was behind the scenes for the longest, but now he's an on-camera character. And being an on-camera character is a problem. Different in life.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that he is not an on-camera character.
No,
that's the problem. This is shoot Tony Khan. This is not on character.
No, but he's trying.
No, I get what you're saying about that.
But he's trying to make himself an on-screen presence.
I don't think it's now
on-screen presence.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think he is.
If you're the business guy, the money guy, you're not on TV, and
he's not on TV.
Though. And even if you're even head of creative, how often did we see Vince McMahon on TV? Back when he was running things, that guy kept himself hidden in the back. Didn't even want to be mentioned during speeches, and a lot. I mean, and as much as Tony Khan is this. First of all. His motivation is he wants recognition, he wants money. Both go hand in hand. He wants to be able to say, I went head to head with WWE and I did better than WCW. Those are things. Number two, he wants to be everybody's friend. He wants to be one of the boys. He is a tape trader guy who had enough money to buy a wrestling company. And now he can be one of the boys because he can afford to be one of the boys. This is like having enough money to hang out in your favorite football team's locker room, or your dad owns a team and you hang out with the players. You're not one of the boys.
I was going to address
your dad owns a team and you just happen to be there. And so he really wants to be dollars to donuts. If someone said to him, hey man, you should get in the ring and like drop an elbow on somebody, he fucking bust a nut in his pants. Because ideally, that's what he would love to do. I'm not saying that he wants to be champion, AEW champion, and do the David Arquette thing, but he wants to be so cool and one of the boys so bad that he cannot be the boss. And that's the thing. You can't do both. I mean, there has to be the buck has to stop somewhere. You can't be just the money guy and not the accountability guy. Like and call yourself the boss. Like you can't just say, well, I paid the bills, but I'm not responsible for administrative bullshit. Let HR handle it. Oh, let so and so handle it. I mean, there has to be the reason why you call an EVP and the V is for vice because there's a P, there's a president, there's somebody that you report to, and if you want to have a business that makes money and stays in business, you've got to have structure and you got to have rules. And the fact that this is a wrestling company means that you got to make money. You have to have a profitable operational schedule. You're going to have merch. You're going to have house shows, whatever it is, pay-per-views, whatever. And whoever doesn't draw is going to get cut. Whoever draws is going to get moved up the card. Whoever's more entertaining is going to get moved up the card. But you have to manage all that as a business.
So I agree with you that he wants to be one of the boys, for sure. I don't agree that he wants to. I don't think he would nut in his pants if he was told to go out and do an elbow and win a title. I don't think that because he's the guy that books the show. He could have done that if he wanted to.
He could have already done that if he wanted to.
Oh,
I don't think he meant literally.
Yeah.
I don't think he meant literally.
Like
I do think that... this though. This is where I'm gonna.
Okay, go ahead.
I do feel this, and this is where I'm going to leave my comment about it too. I think Tony Khan is losing control. He has lost control of the company. Guys like Jericho are trying to rein it in, but also trying to create their own narrative. Basically, they're like, we got your back, Tony. We're going to be here. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. But you are going to let me do this. I was running a company, and I had several guys in the locker room that were politicking for control of their own destiny.
Oh, man.
And that's just pro wrestling. Guys are going to do that. Guys are going to be like, hey, I know what's best for me. Let me work this storyline so I can do this and I can do that. The problem with Tony Khan is that he's let so many people do that to where he can't say no now. He's saying, well, Paul, CM Punk's coming back and he's gonna drop the belt to Mox. Then he's gonna win the belt right back from Mox. It's gonna be Chicago. It's gonna be a big thing, and everyone's gonna go crazy, and it's gonna be like the best story ever, right? The Bucks are like, that's fine. We don't give a fuck about that. We're winning the 6-man tag team belts on the show. MJF is like, well, I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna win the Casino Battle Royal without even having to do anything. I'm gonna fucking come out at the joke. I'm gonna win that, and then I'm gonna run shit.
Pull Brock Lesnar.
So now you got all of these guys. So now you got all of these guys basically pushing their own narrative, right? But what happens when all those guys are, well, you know what? Julian wants to be the world champion. Drew has the book. Husky wants to be the television champion. I want to be both the world champion and the television champion. So now I'm pissed off. Drew, you fucking suck. This is all your fault. This is all your fault. Now Drew should be the guy who has to deal with all these fucking egos. So Drew is trying to smooth it over all these egos to make it run smoothly. Instead of being the guy saying, yo, I'm in control. This is what's fucking going on. Drew's like, I'm going to let this shit, I'm going to let it play. Well, you're going to let it play out so fucking long. Because the longer you let it play out, the worse it gets. Now the Bucks are pissed off because their buddy is not getting the Bucks pissed off because their buddy isn't getting the play he's supposed to. CM Punk is fucking paranoid. Everyone's against him. So if you're paranoid, you think everyone's against you, and someone comes to you with, "Hey man, I don't like the fact that you did this." Oh, here we go.
Well, then you're against.
Here we go. Now it's a fucking fight. You know what I'm saying? And that's great. That's great. I used to tell people BCW this all the time.
What?
Tell people all the time, dude. You can have this argument all you want backstage. You can have this argument in your parking lot at wherever you are.
And
but don't
NXT
take it to
comes.
fucking social media. Don't let it come to blows at a fucking show because the wrong person's going to see it. The wrong person's going to hear about it. The wrong news is going to leak. And it's going to be the downfall of the fucking company.
It's already.
And this right
Yeah,
here,
what's
right here.
Time Warner Media, whatever, don't think.
Yes. I mean, do you think Time Warner Media, who's already going through a huge
We also
change
gotta
now, wants to
discover.
deal with this shit? Like,
No,
think about that.
definitely not.
Do you really want to deal with that shit? Me personally, I wouldn't want to.
Hell no.
I'm hoping that changes happen here, and what I'm really hoping for is that Tony finally realizes that he does not have the personality traits to do everything by himself.
Mm-mm.
Cannot be running the show by himself. He cannot be doing booking for ROH. I'll address that in a second. I don't think that he. Well, I mean, I've said 100 times on the show previously. He needs to get a hold of certain aspects of the company and make somebody be the person in charge of that certain aspect of the company. He cannot do. He does not have, as I said, he does not have the personality traits to be number one and everything funnels to him. Cannot be that.
So Drew, I believe Tony Khan has the ability to be the CEO, for example, of AEW. However, he should not be in charge of creative or talent relations.
Agreed.
He should be a boss who coordinates all that shit, like who coordinates all the people who handle that shit. But his focus is on driving business, expanding the company, maybe having an eye for talent. If he's a fan of the product, then keeping an eye out for other people in the indies that they could bring in, looking for new venues, looking for other partnerships, but wanting to grow the bottom line.
I'm not saying
because it seems like that's what he's good at with the other shit that he does.
Right.
But as far as like how much of if anybody here has ever been in sales, when you look at how your time is distributed during the week or during the month and what your new sales versus continuing sales have been, you want to look at where your growth has been. So where he puts his time in and to where the money comes from. So does doing media scrums with CM Punk make him money or lose him money? Does dealing with talent relations with guys fighting in the back, is that making him money or losing his money? Or does he go out and generate more revenue by promoting his business with Time Warner executives or other partnership people and bringing in money that way? And that's where he needs to go ahead and devote his talents, because that is what he should be doing. That's what he does. And let somebody who is in the wrestling business, who is used to these egos and used to people trying to work each other and outwork each other and working the boys, just keep a lid on that shit. Stop letting the inmates run the asylum.
I wasn't. If I was insinuating that I didn't want him to be the head of the company, I didn't mean that. If that's what you took from me saying that, I actually agree. What you said is what I was pretty much alluding to, is that he should be at the top, but he shouldn't be what everyone funnels to. He should have person for creative, person for talent relations, person for, and it's kind of like what they've been doing. But I think that it's just not gelled well since the beginning of the company, obviously, as we can see from what happened here. I think that what Punk is not hurting AEW. Punk has made a lot of money for AEW.
He made a shit
one
ton of
calendar
money
year.
for AEW.
Yes.
For people saying that he's not making any money for AEW are fucking stupid. My comment is low.
It's not feasible for them to lose CM Punk.
Yeah.
They lose CM Punk, they're losing a big moneymaker for
Oh
them.
yeah.
So I think
Okay, but see, Drew, there's the problem. So you know this, I know this, Punk knows this. Okay,
right.
so
And that's why he said that's why he feels
So,
that he's able to do
media
what he
scrum,
can do.
hey, I feel like shooting on people. Hey, question in the back. Hey, CM Punk, how's breakfast? Yeah, well, fucking fuck Colt Cabana. You want to talk about Colt Cabana? Well, that guy and he and his mom share a bank account.
I'm sorry.
Nobody asked you about Colt Cabana. They asked you about breakfast. But he knows how he knows his value to the company, and he's looking at Tony's like, oh yeah, I should have said that about Forbes. Man, shut the fuck up and just sit there and drink your water. Ain't nobody talking to you. Anyway, as I was saying, fuck Colt Cabana, fuck Hangman Page.
Here's now Tony Khan's main issue, that I was saying with his personality traits. As soon as Punk cut him off in that moment, he should have said, "No, this was my thing. I take ownership of this. Let's move on." That's it.
Yeah.
And that's and stick to that. And because he is not able to physically do that, that's where we had this entire thing blow up like this. Now, I think that, okay, first of all, Pickles fan is kind of going off on me a little bit. I did not say that the company dies completely when if CM Punk is gone.
No.
I'm saying that you have to remember CM Punk is a very, very he's well, we'll talk about like the island of relevancy. He's on his own island. He is a special case that you cannot compare to other people for who he is, how he left wrestling 8 years ago now. He left the company, WWE, was never coming back to wrestling. Fans have chanted for his name as much as much as fans have chanted what?
7+ years. CM Punk's name.
What and CM Punk. Those are the two consistent chants in any arena on every given night. For him to choose AEW to come back to wrestling to is a huge deal. And because, and I know I'm sounding punky with this. What I mean by that is that, yes, Orange Cassidy has made money for AEW. Chris Jericho
Omega has made money a lot for AEW.
Omega, the Bucks, absolutely. But the problem is,
we'll get to the video game part in a second.
The problem is CM Punk is an anomaly.
Yes.
CM Punk was the highly sought after person to come back to wrestling somewhere, and he chose AEW.
And let me tell you why.
Go ahead.
He chose AEW because it was the largest platform available to him at the time. Ring of Honor was not. Impact was not. And he said, oh, fuck WWE, I'm not going back to WWE. But here's this startup rival company, which would be the cool place to come back to because it would be punk rock and DIY. And it would be counterculture for him to do so, to go against the big WWE giant that he had this big gripe against, because that's what AEW allegedly was doing. AEW was put together with these people who left WWE and some indie guys who wanted to go up against the big giant. So what better stage for CM Punk to come back to?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Than AEW. No, nothing wrong with that, because A, he's going to make money, and B, he's going to have the platform that he wants, the stage that he wants, the stage that he's now used to for getting his message, his merch, his face, and his everything out there. And that's what people need to remember. CM Punk does not come to work for free. He doesn't come to work because he likes you. He comes to work because he's getting paid. And he found the most viable stage possible to do it with. And looking at the pop that he got after 7 years, this is why when he talked about why he left WWE and he was working while he was sick because he didn't want to lose his spot. I was like, bro, you were not going to lose your spot.
That is true.
Because the fans were clamoring for you. Look at you now, 7 years later. Road Warrior pop times 5 when you come back in Chicago. So, I mean, but here's the problem. If the guy proves to be unproductive to the workplace, he may be a fan favorite and he may be an anomaly, but if they won't hire him, they won't hire him. I mean, as much as people like Scott Hall, back in the day, a lot of places would not hire him because they didn't want him showing up drunk.
Right. Now, do I think that CM Punk should be fired from AEW? No, I do not.
No.
Not because of his popularity. I think he is a useful member of a locker room.
Yeah.
Obviously, he needs some talking to.
Well, you bring up smack some sense into him.
I think what is best, because this is not like he came to this company and this happened. This is something that he's been carrying with him from before he came to this company.
The emotions bundles up inside you, and then it just goes out.
He is known to be an asshole.
Oh, yes.
Sure. I don't necessarily disagree with that. However, I think he is a great wrestling mind, and I think he is a better wrestling mind than a lot of the old heads that people like to talk about a lot, who need to go away. Like Jim Cornette, those types of
fuck Jim Cornette.
talking head, fuckface douchebags that are literally just spreading all of their hate and hate watching
unnecessary
everything.
Hate too, like literally unnecessary hate.
Punk helped AEW. Now, yes, AEW was great before Punk.
Yes,
I don't disparage that. But Punk was a critical point in getting AEW more mainstream. I will bet everything on that.
Let's call it what it fucking is. Okay, I've listened to you guys talk about this. Here's the fucking God's honest truth. Pickles fan, AEW's ratings have not dropped because of CM Punk. These ratings have dropped because of the stupid shit that goes on behind the scenes being let out. Okay, CM Punk got them $1 million fucking box office twice.
On a rumor.
The first time that they've ever had that. They sold out arenas that even WWE couldn't fucking sell out.
That's true.
That Arthur Ashe Stadium, they sold that fucking stadium out. This is the one man in the history of professional wrestling. Not fucking Hulk Hogan, not fucking Ric Flair, not fucking Sting, not Stone Cold Steve Austin, Evan Nash. None of these guys can sell out a fucking building without even being booked on the fucking show.
Yeah.
Okay. CM Punk sold out a building in Chicago with just a mention that he might be there.
A rumor. A freaking
rumor. A rumor. That's
no one has
fucking
ever
crazy.
done that before.
That's fucking crazy. Okay. So the ratings haven't dropped because of that. Okay. A lot of people hate Punk because of the person that he claims he is. Big fucking deal. Guess what?
Oh,
not
well.
everybody's all peachy. Not
It
everybody's fucking
personal life.
Not everybody's gonna be not everybody's gonna be great in the industry. Okay. Trust and believe. I know that for a fact. There's a lot of fucking guys in the company right now that are pieces of shit. Destroying a company because they think that they know what's best. Okay, so CM Punk is CM Punk, one of the biggest names in the industry, whether you like him or you don't like him. Personality wise, who gives a shit? The guy goes out there and gets it done in the fucking ring. He puts asses in seats. Actually, last night, Ashley Nova said something to me, and I said I was going to start using it on this show because it was funny as fuck, but it makes sense. Look, he puts meat in the seats.
Yeah.
What that means is no matter how much heat you have against you, good or bad, people are gonna fucking show up. They're gonna come to that arena. They're gonna pay their money to either watch you get your ass whooped or watch you whoop somebody's ass. You know what I'm saying? Haters make you famous. So right now, CM
That's
Punk
why
got
Tim
haters.
Cornette is
My
doing what
problem
he
with this whole situation is this. Kind of the roasting situation. 5 people on this side don't like you. 5 people on this side like you.
Oh,
They're gonna start rumors, so everyone will dislike you.
uh-huh.
This is high school shit. My
I
14-year-old
graduated high
daughter
school 10 years
starts her very first day of school tomorrow. Her very first day of high school tomorrow. This is the type of shit that I expect her to come home and say, Dad, listen to this bullshit that happened at school today.
She
Not
needs
to
a high
watch
school
it on a
drum.
fucking global, not to watch it on global fucking television. This is stupid.
Yeah.
The reason why I want to have this conversation had on the show tonight is because I have 3 very smart fucking co-hosts that they know about the industry. They know what's going on. This is some fucking bullshit. Like
Really is.
I am disgusted by being a professional wrestler right now because of the shit. This is the type of shit that makes a motherfucker sick to his stomach. Because you watch it at an indie, you watch this shit happen in an indie level. Egos. I used to say this in the locker room all the time. I have 2 kids, not
was there.
22 kids. You know what I'm saying?
That's a lot.
This right here, I know the Bucks. I know the Bucks. You know, I know a lot of people in AEW. That doesn't mean that they're not fucking kids. Grow the fuck up. Treat this as a business, not a hobby. Tony Khan, get your balls out the sand. Stop being a bitch. Put your foot down.
Stop
This
letting
is your
people walking
business.
all over you.
You are paying these motherfuckers. Guess what? They're your employees. Make them fucking do their job. If they can't do their job, fire their ass.
Smack their
Okay?
heads from
I
behind.
work for Nike, the biggest shoe company in the whole fucking galaxy.
Yeah.
Okay? Phil Knight, great guy. Great guy. Do you really honestly believe that he'll be, oh, hey, a fucking 75 to 80 billion dollar fucking company a year? Don't listen to what the fuck I say. You guys go ahead and do what you want to fucking do. That was the problem. When they said AEW was non-scripted, that guys could pretty much and do what they want to do, that was the fucking problem from day one. When you start
Yeah.
letting people do what they want
You
to
need a
do,
little
that's
structure
where
and
fucking
promo.
egos come in. That's where business falls apart.
Bad blood. Better yet, if you're walking down the street and the local news camera came up to you and asked you a question about something going on in the neighborhood, and you turn around and go, and by the way, my boss at Nike, and you named his name, that fucker, he keeps on coming home late from lunch, and he smells like
damn
some
it.
damn vodka, and
He ate my sandwich in the freezer with my name on it. God damn it.
you know, do you think you have a job the next day? Absolutely not. And
Fuck
again,
no.
running a business like a business, and I think we talked about this a while ago about there's so many TV shows and movies that would be about 10 minutes long if the main characters had just stopped and had a 5-minute conversation.
They do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for anybody who saw Resident Evil on Netflix, if the 2 girls and the father had a 5-minute conversation, none of that shit would have ever happened.
Nope. No more.
None of it. And that's all you got to do back in the locker room.
Maybe that's why it was canceled.
Exactly. 'Cause people like,
That's
I
what makes
think-
me so mad.
I
That's what
think
makes me so mad
what-
because they had a meeting backstage, and this supposed to be like, "Hey, we're gonna get our shit together so we don't have these problems." You had a meeting last week, and look, this shit happens tonight. I mean, last night. What the fuck? Was anyone paying attention in the meeting? Was everyone drunk?
No.
Were they all fucking on Snapchat?
I
Were they on
can't.
fucking
So I
Twitter?
can't.
Were they on TikTok?
Probably.
I can't fault that necessarily because it's not like that meeting was 4 months ago and then this is happening now. Like you got to give that a little bit of time to really like establish before you could say, oh, well, you know, they had this meeting about blah, blah, blah. And look what happened. The meeting was not even like 2 full weeks ago. It's not like it was 4 months ago. The meeting.
I think it was like
Mhm.
a week ago.
We
Honestly.
need to have a little bit of time for stuff to establish.
William
because
Regal, do your thing. Just say everybody. Oh, and John Moxley is right over there.
I would like for number one, Ace Steel has to fucking go. That's
Oh yeah,
100%.
Ace Steel caused the whole drama.
Mhm.
assuming what happened is legit, yes.
Right. Yeah.
If it's legit.
Now, if it's legit, goodbye Ace Steel. Don't need you
Bye-bye.
here. That's ridiculous. That probably will piss
You
off
pro
Punk.
punk fans may be upset about me about that, but I don't care.
What Tony Khan needs to do is he needs to say, if I'm, listen, I would be great at this shit. Even though I'm an awkward as hell, but I wouldn't be doing these press conferences, none of that bullshit.
No.
But I'm a fan of CM Punk, and I'm a fan of Kenny and the Young Bucks, but I can sit down. What I like about, what I'm able to do is go, I like you, you're fucking wrong, you can't do this again. And this is Tony Khan's problem. He doesn't have that capability.
He doesn't have the balls.
Now, the scrums, if the scrums are going to continue, he's got to probably not be there for them. I don't think he needs to be sitting there. I don't think that he needs to be the face that everybody sees all the time. Have that be Leva Bates, who's already there. Have that be another representative in the company. Doesn't have to be you. That point I agree with Julian. That
hi Ric Flair, he needs a job.
Yeah. God Almighty.
Woo,
Don't do that shit.
What
Last
I
match.
do. So now the other thing I wanted to point out. I
Yes,
know we're
Flair.
already at like an hour and 20 minutes almost, but
And
we go
it's
2 hours
It's
sometimes.
all right.
Now, while we kind of shit on Pickles fan a little bit, and I apologize for that, but I did agree with something that Pickles fan said earlier in the chat, and I don't know if you could scroll up and find it somewhere. I don't remember what it was, but I'm going to paraphrase. He said something like, since Triple H took over, Tony Khan has been like
Stress.
not running scared, or something to the effect of like the show AEW has obviously been different since Triple H took over. I 100% agree with that. I think it's gotten worse since Triple H took over.
Yeah.
And I think that there we go. Yeah, that's the comment. He's been freaking out since Triple went into office. And since it's I wouldn't say it's getting hard to watch. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I agree that the quality and the overall presentation of how Dynamite and Rampage is booked has changed since Triple H took over. And I think that is because this has been Tony Khan's thing, the anti-WWE thing that AEW has established itself as, with Vince McMahon no longer in the picture.
It doesn't need to be about that anymore.
It's not us against them.
Yes.
Now it's, let me focus on what I need to do to make the best wrestling company and the best wrestling storylines on TV possible.
Hey, which Drew, and that leads into something that Shane and I went back and forth with a little bit today. In match ratings, in a 5-star match rating, what is the criteria for
I have
a
no
match
idea
rating?
on that.
And the reason why I say that is because, given the different styles of wrestling, whether it's a lucha match, strong style, catch as catch can, American professional wrestling like in AEW, or sports entertainment in WWE, you're never going to be grading the same way.
I couldn't even tell you because I don't participate in star match things. I don't do star ratings. I don't care about star ratings. I respect I respect the hell out of Dave Meltzer and everything that he's done for the last 35, however long it's been, years.
How long he's been in the business?
God
damn.
I don't give a shit about match ratings. It's not my thing. I don't go, oh, Dave Meltzer rated this 4.25, but he rated this 4.75, and I'm going to talk on Twitter all day about how that was wrong or that was right. I don't give a shit about match ratings. So I'm not the right person to ask those questions because I don't care. I prefer that they just didn't exist, honestly. But that's something that he's established for a really long time.
Right.
and that's his thing. I respect him. He can do it. It makes people fucking unbearable on social media sometimes, but that's just the thing. Same with like TV ratings, match ratings, and TV ratings. The worst fucking things to be talked about on social media.
Cable just need to be gone.
Wasn't it? Didn't Siskel and Ebert shit on Star Wars?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, they did. Right. That came back to bite them in the ass. But yeah, so I think that Tony, going forward, Tony needs to not be so involved in everything.
No,
He
he
needs
does
to
not.
find somebody who.
No, Cornette never makes some good points. I'm sorry.
Jim Cornette has. Okay, I shit on Jim Cornette before, but I just want to say this about Jim Cornette. Okay, Jim Cornette has a fabulous wrestling mind for what happened 20 years ago.
Thank you. 20 years
not,
ago.
Not even that. Not even that. Jim Cornette has a fabulous wrestling mind, and he can see. I think he'd be a good booker in this day and age. Cornette's only problem is he doesn't know when to shut the fuck up.
No, he doesn't.
That's Cornette's problem. Cornette will make a valid point. He'll be like, well, that Hangman Adam Page, he's like the modern day Stan Hansen. I think he has what it takes to go far, right? And then instead of saying that and shutting up, but he wears tights and he lost long hair and he runs around throwing up these fucking Wolfpack signs. He's a millennial cowboy. He drives a Prius. Like what the fuck? The fuck they gotta do with anything? Like what I'm saying?
He really puts his foot in his mouth. He puts his foot in his mouth.
Yes,
every fucking time.
Yes, that's his problem.
He can't get through one of his podcasts without referring to Kenny and the Bucks or whatever euphemism.
Cornette, just admit you're a fucking fan of the Bucks and the Elite. You mention them all the time. Just admit it.
Probably.
Yeah. Fake hating. That's what it is.
Cornette does make good points, but they are marred by his underlying racism and a lot of comments that he made.
Yeah.
And just his overall just really terrible, like old style, back in my day.
Back in my day, I pushed a stick through the hoop.
But people need to realize, and this will be my last thing that I say because I've talked a lot tonight. People need to understand that your enjoyment for something should not be compromised by somebody else's dislike for something.
And that's why we
just enjoy wrestling.
Enjoy it. Stop making tribalism. Stop it.
The tribalism has been at an all-time high lately.
Ever since AEW was a thing, it's been tribalism. This and that.
It was, but the last year, I want to say, has been worse. It's gotten worse, and since Triple H took over, it's gotten even more worse.
Just because my wrestler didn't go to this company, I'm gonna have a death threat on that wrestler just because he didn't go to my favorite company.
It took me a very long time to be able to say that and feel it.
Right.
Because I used to have a lot of negative stuff affect me and have it hamper my enjoyment on something. Now, I will tell you, case in point, because I did not get to talk about this. The MJF return yesterday was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in wrestling. I loved, and a lot of people shit on, okay, he was not in the match. He was the Joker and did the thing. And then, the end of the night, he didn't just cash that in and win and whatever.
Hold on one second, Drew. You said people were shitting on the fact that MJF wasn't in the match. He technically was in the match because he was the Joker. But I bet those same people. bet those same
seen people say that they, and my friend Joe Pearl is one of them, unfortunately. But I am able to disagree with Joe Pearl and still love him and not be like, no, I can't be friends with you anymore because of this opinion.
Yeah.
He did not
Yeah.
like that they did the ending segment the way that they did with the voicemail and having him come out and that whole thing. He didn't like that. I thought it was the greatest way to do it. I thought last night, and the reason I'm saying this for a reason, last night's MJF thing from start to finish was brilliant. It was brilliant because it's never been done like that before. Never been done like that before. And that part of it trickles in. The realism stuff, that's where that's done right.
There is major difference what is this and that. Major difference.
I have a problem with people who aren't in the match winning the match. The thing with Brock, that pissed me off. The one where the one where Edge knocked down, Edge lost his title in the first match of the night in Elimination Chamber, and then in the second chamber,
that was great.
He knocked down somebody
Kofi
was
Kingston.
not in the match, just knocked him out and took their place in the match and won it and became champion again. In this case, it would have made better sense to me if the same thing had happened, but if the Joker had just walked out to the ring, walked up and grabbed the chip instead of having Stokely Hathaway do it. Stokely Hathaway was not in the match, so he should not be able to grab the big giant poker chip and give it to anybody. But
I agree with that, and that's where I was going with this. That's exactly where I was going with this. People, the WWE fans were like, "Oh yeah, Brock."
Oh my God, Brock
won Money in the Bank. It's okay. I saw this on Twitter. Brock walks out, jumps on the ladder, gets the Money in the Bank suitcase, and leaves, and he's the Money in the Bank champion, and everybody was okay with it. MJF did the same thing last night.
He did the same thing.
People were losing their fucking minds.
Because you know why? It's AEW, and people just want to hate shit just to hate shit.
And also, they are different scenarios. Because
they are different scenarios.
The Joker is in the match.
Yes.
Brock Lesnar was not in that match.
He was not in the match. Mustafa Ali was going to win, hands down. He was going to win, hands down.
Yeah, they did him so dirty in that
match.
But
Brock Lesnar came in, and Ali, man, I should have just grabbed the briefcase and just dip.
I almost wish you did. Honestly, I almost wish you did. Because that was so fucked up that they did that.
I'm sorry. I'm so sick and tired of the freaking unnecessary hate just because it's AEW. I hate the nitpicking of people that do on AEW almost every single time. It's so fucking annoying.
The reason why I said that is because the Punk stuff and the backstage shit and everything that's happened in the last 24 hours. So I've seen so many people go, "Oh, that ruined MJF's moment.
That ruined his moment. Oh my God, how is he going to recover?"
And people that I respect and love have said that as well.
Yeah.
Sean Ross Sapp said that. And I respect him and I love him, but I do not agree. Because this is not something
I kind of agree with that.
This is why I don't agree. I don't agree with it because it is a personal preference. It is not a objective fact. For the people who this negatively affected, this is someone who takes everything, fucking stupid thing flying around me. It's taking into account the negative bullshit that surrounded AEW from the scrum to this moment.
Yep.
You take that out of the equation and you go, somebody posted this poll on Twitter today. Did this negatively, will you view AEW negatively as a whole as a result of what happened yesterday? My answer is no.
No.
I bought my Arthur Ashe ticket. I bought my Arthur Ashe ticket before the scrum. Now I don't know what's going to happen at Arthur Ashe as a result of this.
Oh.
Maybe suspensions or whatever.
You're gonna
you
have
know.
fun.
But the MJF moment made me solidified. I need to buy this ticket for Arthur Ashe. I hadn't done it yet, and that moment made me go, I have to do this now. So I am not affected. I can take myself out of what's happening with the company and go, I need to do this. I need to go. I'm not negatively affected by what happened because the show overall is great right now. There will be things that happen from here to there. We'll see what happens. But I'm going. I'm excited. And what happened does not negatively affect me. And I hope more people are like that because that's how we get less tribalism. That's how we get
We need more of that.
more people just watching what they want to
Enjoy.
watch and not negatively affecting everyone else's enjoyment as well. So that's my period at the end of that very long sentence.
I'd just like to give a big shout out to Walter and Shane for tearing the house down.
Oh my god. Big meaty men
Yes.
slapping meat. I
Yes.
love it.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna do a
What
quick
a
Raw
show.
recap real quick. Dominic aligned himself with the Judgment Day.
wanna
Raquel
go first.
Rodriguez and Aaliyah defeated Doudrop and Nikki ASH, which is strange because Nikki ASH and Doudrop have received 3 championship opportunities at 2 different championships in the last 5 days and have lost all 3 of them.
Damn, they're
Owens
back of the
defeated Austin Theory,
Did you see on Raw
Austin
tonight
Theory,
when,
Bianca Belair.
your face is staring at me?
Bianca Belair challenged Bayley to a one-on-one match. She's just not getting it. Gargano interrupted Theory backstage and said he's returning to the ring next week. So Gargano's going to be in the ring next week on Raw. Rey Mysterio challenged a member of Judgment Day to a match, except he would not fight Dominic. So Damian Priest defeated Rey Mysterio tonight. And Seth Rollins told Matt Riddle pretty much go, you're not getting that pretty much was Monday Night Raw. Oh, I forgot. Braun Strowman came back and destroyed 8 motherfucking men by himself. Yeah, it was ridiculous. That was your Monday Night Raw recap.
I'm up, even though I knew.
That was actually, I'm totally
I
on
heard
board
was-
with Braun Strowman dethroning Roman Reigns.
I am so hoping
Fucking,
for the rival POTUS one day.
We just need one more man.
Corey
We just need one more
Corey
man.
Graves. The best line from Corey Graves was, "All 8 of these men got these hands." It was ridiculous.
So
I
close.
laughed my ass off for that. Main event was for the U.S. Championship. Bobby Lashley defeated The Miz inside the steel cage,
Hey,
and
man,
Dexter
that's
Lumis, or as
As a professional wrestler, why is it so hard for y'all to get out of the cage?
Yeah, why?
You know,
I guess
there's
if
a lot of
the
insinuating
cage door had a
circumstances.
knob on it, it'd be easier to operate, or maybe it's the ropes that it's tricky. I mean, these are some of the most athletic people in the world, and they can't operate a fucking door. Like, all you gotta do is push it open and just jump the fuck
Yeah,
out.
exactly. It's like
There's a lot of insinuating circumstances crawling out of the cage. I mean, sometimes your body is battered
far.
from hitting the cage too much, and it sucks. Sometimes, you know, you try to climb
your
over
body
the cage.
gets really
and
heavy
fucked
when
up.
you're beat down.
Sometimes you're afraid of heights and you just don't want to climb over the top of the cage, and you just like, fuck it, you gotta go through the door.
I'll do it.
And then if the door is chained together with a padlock, you know, then it's hard to get out. So, I mean, that's my professional opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, he's
So,
the actual wrestler.
ladies and gentlemen, I have spent a total of 26 hours streaming the last 3 days of professional wrestling. It is almost 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You the man.
Man,
Very.
Drew
Want a medal?
is yawning. He's tired.
Yeah, I'm actually
Shane,
tired.
have a good night. Julian was out looking for wedding venues for the biggest match of his life, the Balls Count Anywhere match. Do not tell her I said that.
It's live.
She'll rescind my wedding invitation.
We're live, pal.
Oh my gosh. So, hey, man, look, we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Thank you very much for joining us here on the Roundtable Pros and Podcast. For Big Money Drew, for Shane F. and Husky, for the HMIC, I have been the franchise. I am still the franchise. I've not just been that motherfucker. I am him. And we'll see you
Shane
guys on
Douglas?
Wednesday.
Enjoy yourselves.
Peace.